Hello and welcome. Tonight, Australia's gig economy. Is work on demand the new normal?
We have spent that money on birthday parties, going overseas.
You haven't got the lock-in constraints as, say, full-time employment might appear. And definitely with my own generation, having the freedom of the gig economy, definitely it's very appealing.
Also, the life of Jared Lyle, an insight into one of golf's most inspiring players.
Even going through what he went through, he enjoyed life. You walked away every time saying, man, I'm glad I chatted to Jared. He was just a great man.
And the race to save our Tassie Devils from a new threat.
We've come so far. To leave devils in the wild, thinking they may recover, seems quite inconceivable.
It's definitely a major threat. It could cause local extinction.
The convenience of ordering a ride in an Uber or takeaway food through a mobile phone app is part of everyday life for a lot of Australians these days. It's often referred to as the gig economy, and it's caused a major shake-up for businesses and workers in transport and food delivery. Tonight we look at 3 rapidly growing gig businesses and the people working for them to earn extra cash. Michael Atkin explores their experience and what it means for the future of the workforce more broadly.
It's Friday night and thousands of people are descending on Brisbane's noodle markets. Sam Horig is getting ready to serve the thirsty crowd.
Sam?
Yeah?
How's it looking?
Yeah, pretty good actually. It's getting nice and cold now. Just got to pull through the beers and we should be good to go.
Okay, cool. Let's make sure
Sam is 25 and has a full-time day job. This is her side hustle, extra work that allows her to live it up.
I have a main job. They pay my 9 to 5, my bills, my rent, all that's taken care of. This is more when I decide to go on a trip or go see that new show, have a bit of fun, I guess, my fun money. And they advertise how much it's paying all up.
Sam found this shift by using a work-on-demand platform known as Sidekicker.
Literally, as soon as I click onto Sidekicker, it opens up into the postings that are open so anyone can apply.
So these are jobs on the go now?
Yes, they are. And it shows you who's hiring you, where it's located, what time they want you, and how much they're paying.
Rob Willis is one of 5,000 employers using Sidekicker to hire temporary staff.
All the staff, all the sidekicks are screened on relevant experience and certifications. They're rated and reviewed after every job that they do on the Sidekicker platform. So I suppose all that work is taken off your hands and just saves a lot of time.
This is Tiana. She runs a busy team.
Sidekicker has a crucial difference to many other gig economy platforms. Workers aren't independent contractors, they're casuals who are paid award rates, covered by insurance and receive superannuation.
I personally have been a contractor early on through my working years, and so I have dealt with all the tax and going through the invoices and chasing up clients, and I didn't particularly love that side myself.
Alicia Petrie moonlights as a dog sitter. She's finished her office job for the day and is ready to play with Lily and Mia.
We've had over 62 different breeds of dogs with a lot of repeat customers. And, you know, whether it's 1 day or 5 days, they get to have the experience at our home like it is a hotel, like a doggy hotel.
She's one of 14,000 pet sitters on a platform called Mad Paws. Bookings have shot up 250% in the past year.
What's this?
Alicia only takes bookings when it suits her and she sets her own rates.
Over the last year and a half, all up, it's around $8,000 extra income, and we have spent that money on birthday parties, going overseas, and really paying extra bills that come up unexpectedly.
People think the gig economy is really exploding, going to take over the world. Well, it's not quite like that.
Labour market economist David Peets has examined recent employment data and has found the gig economy remains tiny. There is no major shift to contracting and casualisation is steady. In fact, the opposite is happening. Permanent employment is going up.
We don't really know the size of the platform economy in Australia. In other countries, it's small, but generally probably growing, around about 1% or so of the workforce. For most people who are engaged in it, they only use it as a supplement to income, and so they often don't appear in the statistics.
But there remains significant concern about the gig economy's impact on low-skilled workers.
I'd like to go to UTF.
Sure.
Dr Sarah Kane from the Centre for Future Work is worried pay and conditions are being eroded.
I do research on gig work, and I'm concerned that platforms undermine, working conditions. So that's why I choose to catch a cab.
Sure.
And it's this end that I'm concerned with, because what it effectively does is allow organisations to circumvent existing labour law by describing their workers as independent contractors rather than employees. And even if that's only for a small sector of the workforce, that puts downward pressure on wages in that part of the labour market.
According to David Peets, it's that low-cost model that's holding back the gig economy.
The pay for a lot of these areas, not all of them, but for a lot of them, is pretty poor. And so that's going to constrain the labour supply going into it. And also because the pay is poor, they're going to be subject to all sorts of pressure from regulators and interest groups.
Food delivery company Foodora knows that pressure well. It's pulling out of Australia later this month. It's facing legal action for allegedly underpaying its riders as contractors when they should have been employees.
If you're having to pay people as employees and pay them all the benefits to go with that, then your costs are going to go up, and that's going to make Foodora uncompetitive.
And we've said that the gig economy is quite small now, but if the trend increases, we will see an increasing amount of workers who don't have, a decent superannuation pool in which to retire. We'll have workers who are surviving on less than a minimum wage, and that has social implications. Who bears the cost of that situation?
For the highly skilled, the gig economy is paying off.
If a client wants a particular expertise and they want a particular type of work done, then they'll look for someone and they'll be happy to pay that amount.
Lauren Fell is getting well-paid gig work in her spare time by competing for jobs on the platform freelancer.com.
It's basically looking at a website or an app and determining whether it's easy to use for everyone, and in terms of accessibility for people with disabilities.
Supporters of the gig economy believe its flexible employment model means it will grow quickly, especially with the young.
Definitely, especially with how it's perceived now, millennials, of not getting a career but more of just jobs. Definitely it's a lot more appealing. You haven't got the lock-in sort of constraints as, say, full-time employment might appear.
But that doesn't mean they're all quitting their day jobs.
Not at this stage. I think for me, I haven't reached the point where I can accept that level of risk.
Michael Atkin reporting.